up, everyone? We're here with the noisy-ass Keith Jardine, the Dean of Mean, as promised, rummaging around in some trunk. Who knows what the fuck he's got in there? Some kind of tools, metal objects. It's fucking terrifying. What's going on, Keith?
Not much, man. Noisy. I don't know. I've never been called that before. I'm usually the quiet guy.
Who knows what you do? You got some crazy shit going on underneath where you're sitting at in your
Yeah,
desk
yeah.
there.
Okay. Well, let me know if it gets out of hand.
Well, welcome to the show. We've got a chance to hang and catch up, and I'm pumped about this because not only can we talk about fighting, we can really geek out about coffee and even get a little weird about chocolate too. You know?
Oh yeah.
All types of good things. But let's start with the fighting first, man. That's how a lot of people know you. And you were part of the UFC in a pretty fucking cool time. Really, those kind of formative years when it was building the brand and the legacy that it has become today. Tell us a little bit about that, man.
Yeah, I'm really proud of that. Thing about when I came along, when I started training, that there was no guarantee of any sport. The UFC was there. We all dreamt of doing the UFC, but we were just doing it because we love fighting, and we were just weird cats that like to fight. And my first fight I did for $200. I never thought I'd make a living doing fighting in the UFC. And this whole generation of people, my generation of fighting, were those people. They were just training because they love to fight, and for something in them made them want to go out and fight other people and test themselves against other people in a competitive situation. And so that's why our generation, I'm very proud of. Like, everybody's really humble and just like, we were just literally fighting for a dinner back then. And when you see them in crowds, they're always so grateful and gracious with people, signing autographs and hanging out with fans and all that. So that's something I'm really proud of and unique about us. Like, right now you see that there's a lot of that's a whole nother thing. But right now there's athletes coming in the game. Now kids are in high school right now. I got a little situation going on right here.
Oh, that might have been part of the noisy situation down there.
Yeah, I'll get rid of this. Is Daryl the dog. Say hi, Daryl. All right, come on. Sorry. Yeah,
This is real life, everybody. Keith just had to let his dog out of the room.
Last time we had girls changing.
all right, we're gonna edit this, right?
No editing. We had a
Yeah,
nude girl on our
Very
podcast.
ballsy, by the way.
We had a nude girl on our podcast yesterday. We got dogs in this one today. This is real life. I like it.
Yes. So what are we talking about, Aubrey?
So what we're talking about is back in the old days. So let's back it up a little bit. When you was there somebody watching somebody or some people you saw on TV that really made you want to get into this? I mean, like, who were the people you looked up to that actually inspired you to get into it?
Man, Rich Franklin was one of the early guys. At the beginning, I watched, Randy Couture back in the old days, the first time and all that, and that was real inspirational. But that's more of an inside thing. I don't know how to make a long story short. Like, I'm talking about, we all have something inside of us, and I was done playing college football, and I watched UFC from the beginning, and it was always like, you watch Rocky when you're a kid and stuff, and like, you kind of dream of that, and that's fighting on the big stage in front of somebody, just kind of pouring your soul out and bleeding and all that. And I was done playing football, and then I was coaching football at a college, actually, and then something inside of me was like, I was going to bars, hanging out in bars, and I was actually becoming a bully. Like there's this like inner beast that was like, I would just be sitting in a bar. I remember one night, and some guy kind of looked over, not bad or anything, and I like, do I know you? And I walked up because you were looking at me like I thought I knew you, like what's going on here? And I was like bullying people and doing that kind of stuff, and that's totally not me. It's just that inner beast trying to get out. So then I found somebody in a local community center that was one of Greg Jackson's first pupils, and I started training with him, and I started doing MMA and also started doing wrestling too again, and things like that. And I was just trying to quell the beast. Actually, after that one night in the bar, which was after a series of similar events, I went and I just walked onto the rugby team the next day and played a game the next day without knowing any rules or anything like that, just because I had to quell whatever beast that was inside of me.
Right.
And so then I started training, and then I was really good at it. And moved to Albuquerque and met Greg Jackson, and that was a start for me. Wasn't really about trying to be any one person or looking up to somebody. Like back then, I think pride was a big thing, but I never really looked up to anybody. You know, Chuck Liddell, like I watched him fight. That was like a really big deal because he was a Mike Tyson of that time. I don't know. I wanted to go fight with those guys.
And you certainly did. Tell us about that Chuck Liddell fight. That was one of the most memorable in your career.
Yeah, that was yeah. You know, it's a funny thing about that fight. Um, Everybody since that fight always talked about the Chuck Liddell fight. Oh man, I love when you knocked out Chuck. I love when you knocked out Chuck. I didn't knock out Chuck. I fought him to a decision, and I was very proud of that actually. But I always wanted to bury that fight and do bigger things and move on and like I'm not going to peak at this moment. And so I never really did bask in that. In fact, um, it put a lot of pressure on me in a certain way because I don't know. We start getting into psychology. I don't know if you want to go that way, but it put a lot of pressure on me to try and live up to do what I did again and all that. And maybe I just got lucky. Maybe I'm not that good or things like that. But that's just the inner beast that we all have from our childhood.
That's part of the reason why you do.
The inner contrary voice. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's part of the reason why you do fight, though, is to figure out, to dig deep, to go mining and find out what's in those depths. What other self-doubts and resistance that you can bring to the surface, and you're using another worthy opponent to help bring that out. So that's the beauty of it, because that would come out no matter what in your regular life. We all have that. And fighting is just actively saying, all right, I'm not going to let this come out at the worst possible moment when, you know, I really need that kind of self-confidence to carry me to reach my destiny. I'm going to go out and mine and dig deep and go find it and deal with it on my own fucking terms and move on from there. And I think that's kind of the beauty of people who push themselves past the limit, is they're actively seeking these ghosts, these demons, these beasts that are inside themselves and looking to slay them.
You're firing me up, Aubrey, but that's so true. In the fight, that's the easy thing. When you're actually in the fight, fighting somebody, staring at a killer that's trying to kill you, and literally trying to kill you, that's in his mind. He wants to knock your face off, and staring at that guy and digging down and fighting back. That's the easy part. All self-doubt and everything needs to be gone at that point. And you just go forward and do it. But the problem is, and the hard part is, that locker room beforehand, that build up to the fight, the highs and ups and downs there, just getting through that. And that for me was always the hard part. And for most people, that's the hard part. For Cowboy, I love Cowboy. He's my favorite. He's a good friend. He's my favorite fighter. He's a mess in the locker room, and he's notoriously a slow starter, because until that fight gets going and there's actually ego involved and you're doing a fight, like he's not Cowboy yet. But I watched his last fight. I watched before it took him before the third round, and I was watching the guy with I was watching with my friend, and like a minute at the end of the third round, I was like, oh, he's on now. Like, watch. Like, and he picked up the third round, and he just started to destroy him for the third round. And just, you can tell, like, oh, there's Cowboy. It's just like once you transition to, like, whatever your inner self comes out, and all that self-doubt is gone, and you're free and you're just flowing. I mean, that's a flow, and it's a beautiful thing. And that's what I got in that Chuck Liddell fight. Is you were talking about that, and I was staring at a beast, and hit him with leg kicks, and he was cocking that right hand, and he was trying to hit me with knock my head off every time I threw that leg kick, and I just stepped in and kept going, and just I was in the flow. And a couple times there was self-doubt, like in that fight. Like, I remember one time in the second round where my I was kind of sick for that fight, and that sickness started to manifest in my stomach, and like I was either going to poop or throw up. I don't know. and like, okay, there's a time to quit or whatever. Like, oh, suck it up. Something's going to happen. Let's just keep going. You know, they always have that time where you almost want to go the other way. Yeah. I could tell you a million stories about that. And then no, you just went forward. That's one of my favorite things, is you start talking about self-talk during fights. And you talk to any athlete about this self-talk during competition, where they went to that fork in the road where they could have went one way, and then made the right decision and went the hard route.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean
I
that's
call it
the
seeking death. I call it seeking death. It's the old samurai thing.
that was something that speaking of the samurai way, I got the chance to meet and hang with John Jones a little bit
Oh,
before
cool.
this last fight. And one thing that impressed me, he was talking with the night before the fight. He came over. I was eating with Joe Rogan. He was out there having a late night meal as well, and he was saying that he had already seen all of the worst case scenarios that could happen with him and Daniel Cormier in the ring. Everything from DC taking him down to being on top of him for a round. He had gone through all of these fearful worst case scenarios and accepted them and moved past. And that's exactly the way that the samurais would do it. If you read the Hagakure, the book of the samurai, they would meditate on all of the different ways that they could die. Like
Yeah.
vividly meditate. Arrows piercing their body in multiple places, limb dismemberment, every different thing that could happen, being taken captive and held prisoner and tortured. They would go through that, every day as a meditation, meditating on their death. And so when they actually got into battle, there was nothing
Nothing
to
to
be
worry
afraid of,
about.
nothing to fear at that point. You'd
Yeah.
already gone through it. None of these things were left unmasked in your psyche. And I think that's an incredibly important thing to do, even for, no matter what you're doing. If you're going to give a talk on stage, and you're a little nervous about public speaking, go
Me.
imagine yourself freezing up. Imagine what that feels like when you can't get a word out. Go through that. Live that whole thing. Live the audience turning back and forth, looking left and right, going like, what the fuck's wrong with this guy? Live that so that, you've gone through it and then you're not scared of it anymore. Like whatever it is, using that same principle applies. It just so happens that fighting forces you to do that, because if you don't do it, another person's going to kick your ass.
Yeah. That makes me think one of the ballsiest things to do. Like my biggest fear is public speaking. Like the fact that I'm doing this right now is really like I came from a place where like when my first job when I moved out is personal training. I got stomach like ulcers. I had to sleep on a bottle every night because I was terrified of talking with somebody for an hour straight the next day during a personal training session.
Wow.
Yeah, weird. Um, yeah, but yeah, the public speaking, like stand-up comedians, all that, like man, those guys are man, to take that art form in front of people and to try stuff, man, I have so much respect for that.
Yeah.
Talking about that samurai stuff, that's what one reason why I was excited to talk to you, Aubrey, because I know you get really philosophical about all this stuff, the warrior poet and all that stuff. And when we were on Jason Ellis, we were talking about some five ring stuff and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Along the same line that you're talking about, one of my favorite things is I think it's Zen in the Japanese Culture by Suzuki, one of the first guys to really translate in the early last century to translate Japanese writings. He has a whole bunch of family doctrines that were hand down from family to family to family in that, and then a lot of samurai culture and all that in those doctrines. And exactly what you're saying is he's talking about, being in the moment, the whole Zen thing,
Mm-hmm.
and hey, we talk about my fights. We track all my fights. Whenever I do bad, I'm not in the moment. I lost focus and I'm not there. I'm planning my next move. Literally, step right here, step forward, throw right, overhand, something like that. Anyways, so it's getting in the moment, not worrying about things, not worrying about, whoa, that punch almost hit me. That was a strong one. I
Yeah.
just stopped time right there, keeping time moving, staying in the moment. And with that, they say, to actually, when they go into a fight, to actually look to die, just like what you're saying, how many ways can I die? And they meditate on that. I want to seek death. I want to go in that fight. And my goal is not to win that fight, but to have a simultaneous death. I want to kill him the same time he kills me. That's why I'm not worried about the winning or the losing. And I'm just there looking for a simultaneous fight. So I'm not, oh, that almost got me, and time will never stop. And that's a beautiful thing that transcends fighting or anything else you're doing. Acting, I'm really into acting right now, and I'm trying to learn that skill. And it's like I forgot what's that. Never stopping, and
Mm-hmm.
always moving forward. And I don't know.
Yeah, no doubt, man. I think that
Oh
being in the present moment is the key to being effective in anything that you're doing. It could
yeah,
be fucking podcasting. It could be in the ring. It could be
podcasting. Yeah,
in any situation. When you're surfing that present moment, you know that there's the magic with you. There's only the magic in the present moment. Maybe you can be somewhat effective if you just kind of are thinking about it, but you'll never be quite as effective as when you're riding that moment. That's the flow state. That's being in the
The
zone.
flow state, and that's what I was getting to. It's the process. It's not the outcome. It's not what's going to happen at the end. It's enjoying the process.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm not worried about how this whole podcast is going to turn out, and did I look good and say good things and have a good conversation. Like I'm just worried about our conversation right now, not the end of it.
No doubt, and that's really the key. I mean, when I do the Rogan podcast, you can think about, oh, this is going to get 700,000 downloads, and in the minute you start thinking about that, and you get out of the conversation with one of your good friends, it's me talking to my buddy Joe, and whenever it becomes, holy shit, I'm saying this in front of almost 1 million people, the whole thing goes to shit. I mean, maybe
Yeah.
not to shit, but it's not as powerful as when it's just like you're right there in the conversation and you're just talking with your buddy and enjoying it, and that's really the key. It's just the present moment is fucking fun. If you're in the present, there's not suffering in the present. Suffering requires distance from the present. It requires an analysis of the present, a looking towards the future. There might be pain in the present, but generally the present is fucking awesome. And the more we can live in the present, there's no depression in the present. There's no fear in the present. There's only the fucking present, And that's the beauty of it. If we can seek that, that's really the path to enlightenment. It's just being in that present moment.
Yeah, but learning that every day is really hard. Learning
Oh,
how
so
to
hard.
well, I did an audition yesterday for a movie, and I said, you know what? One of my favorite things I used to do was to go to a coffee shop and read a book and hang out and just kind of melt a little bit in there. And I went to do that, and I was having a hard time being present. Like I was having a hard time just relaxing and not speeding through my lunch and not thinking about how I got to go do this and that and get ready for this and all my groceries. It's so hard to be in the present, and I was actually really trying at that moment to do that, and I failed at it, and it really kind of bugs me still.
That's the that's the weird part about being the present. Trying to be in the present takes you out of the present. It's like the fucking irony of the whole situation. It's like the only way to get to the present is surrender. See, all of us who like to keep pushing forward
Surrender.
and like to achieve and like to go out, that's how we accomplish most of the things in our life. But something like that, it's the opposite. It's the letting go. It's the not moving forward. It's the stepping back. It's the allowance. It's the saying, okay, I see myself. Keith is a little distracted today. That's okay. Keith will become less distracted. Removing yourself from that and just surrendering to the experience that you have and allowing that to, as you said, melt, and then
Yeah.
melting back into the present.
That's awesome, man. That's really cool. I like how you talked about that too, separating yourself. Like, oh, that's Keith, a hyperachiever,
Yeah,
trying to do that. Like, calm down, hyperachiever. Just relax.
totally. I find myself doing that, and it was a real strong lesson from my last ayahuasca journey, was looking at myself like an animal, like a bear. So like a lot of times when I'm eating, I'll notice that I'll just be eating thoughtlessly, like rah, 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 more and more food, not being in the present, even for that simple thing that's one of life's, pleasures and an important part of life for sustenance. But just taking a step back when I'm doing that and being like, whoa, 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 settle down, bear. The food's not going anywhere. Relax, enjoy it. Take your time. Don't think about the other things. And if I'm stressed or if I'm anxious, like, hey, bear, it's okay. Settle down. Don't worry about it. Things are going to be all right. They're always all right. Relax, bear. And thinking of myself even as like a separate animal was really, really helpful, because then it's like, okay, like if you had a pet, like your dog, if your dog was freaked out, you'd be like, hey, buddy, it's cool. Relax. Settle down, man. We're going to get through this. It's going to be fine. And then being the observer to yourself, the animal, can be a really valuable tool to use.
That's cool at naming all of your inner talks. Like, all right, insecurity. Hey, back off, relax. You're
Yeah,
okay. Like
yeah,
that.
totally.
That's cool.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
it's helpful.
work on that a lot more.
All these little tools that we need, because shit, we're a complicated animal.
You guys are a lot nicer to yourselves. I'm like, you piece of shit. Get up, you piece of shit.
That's the wrong way, man. I hate that. You're talking about something. You're talking about fighting and stuff like that now too. And I see people working out and like, how's that self-talk? Like, come on, motherfucker, you're on the treadmill. Get that lat. Come on, do it. Like it's that old high school coach in your head yelling at you. Like, no, that's not. I fought a guy once. I remember. I don't know if I said Brandon Vera once, and I mean somebody. Not anyway. I was on a cage.
Somebody like we'll call him Landon Mara.
Yeah, a wonderful guy. And I had him on the cage, and I'm hitting him on the cage, and I'm kind of scrambling, hitting him. First, I'm hitting him with a incredibly weak shot. And there's self-talk because my left arm was completely dead before the fight, and I'm hitting with these like noodles, and I'm talking to him. Oh man, maybe I'm losing respect. Oh well, keep throwing him. The judge is looking, and I hear his coach just berating him in the corner. And during the fight, almost like it really almost came out of me. He's like, no, man, you're doing all right, man. You're doing a good job. Keep it up.
He was
just that coach in the corner, like you can't have that negativity, man. Whatever you're doing in life, it's got to be real positive. You got to like baby. I think he babies himself through everything, even if it's hard, man. No, man, you're doing all right. Okay, just get up, turn, face it down. It's just okay, man. Just you got to have that real positivity inside of you, man. Even when you mess up, all right, man. Okay, we'll move forward. Like it's got to be a real positive voice. It can't be negative.
That's a fucking hard thing though, because I'm with you, Orlando. That's a demon that I face. You know, like I do something wrong, and I'm like, Aubrey, you fucking idiot. You're a fucking idiot. You know, like how do you expect to achieve what you want to achieve when you're just a fucking idiot? And then I'll get in these little tirades where I'll just go off of myself, and then I'll have to like go like, wait a minute, whoa, like settle down. Like there's that parasite in our mind. That's what the Toltecs say. You know, they call it the parasite. And it
all comes from our childhood, man.
Yeah, or Stephen Pressfield calls it resistance. It's this voice, this antagonistic voice that we have to deal with. And that's really, to the Toltecs, that's what defines a warrior. A warrior is someone who every day does battle with the parasite in their mind.
Yeah.
That's it. Well, let's talk about some fucking coffee before we run out of time here on this podcast.
We're running out of time. We got all kinds of things to talk about. My movie's coming out today.
What? What movie?
Inherent Vice.
Nice. Sounds like a good movie for you.
One of the most proud things I've ever done. Are we going to run out of time for real? We better talk about coffee.
Let's talk about the movie. Time is flexible.
All right.
Time. We're in the present moment.
A huge passion of mine. Anyways, I did. It's coming out today. I'm very excited about it. One of the most proud things that I've ever done. A little over a year ago, I got an opportunity to fly to LA on my own dime and audition for a cold read. They were having a hard time casting for a part. That's all I knew. So my manager told me I should go, and I went. And I got off a plane and went to this casting director, and they gave me 2 pages full of lines. And I had to do a cold read. First of all, I can't do a cold read. I suck at that because, again, it's childhood stuff. Like I was that guy that couldn't read out loud in class. Mm-hmm. Like I would have to memorize my paragraph, figure out when it's going to get to me, memorize my paragraph, and read out loud like that. So I still can't do that in auditions. So I went to the next room and I kind of memorized for about a half an hour, and I went back. Anyways, so we went through this, and they casted me for this role. And it was Paul Thomas Anderson film, I found out later. One of the greatest writer artists in movie history, writer-directors. He did There Will Be Blood, Magnolia, The Master, Boogie Nights. In the movies with Joaquin Phoenix, and my part is with Joaquin Phoenix. I got that role. They had no idea I was a fighter. They found out until I was on set. Maybe that would have hurt me, actually, because it hurts me more than it helps me lately being a fighter, because I already have some sort of association to my persona. Mm-hmm. So I got that part, man, and like actors work their whole lives to be able to be in like someone like Paul Thomas Anderson's movie, and I got that, and it's coming out today, and I'm hoping that'll like fuel a lot more stuff in my acting career.
That's awesome, brother.
Check it out, guys.
Congrats for sure, man. That's fucking great. It's a cool story too. You know, you took a chance. You didn't know what was going to happen. You had to fly out there on your own dime. I mean, that would have been a perfect opportunity for that self-doubt to creep in. Like, oh, a cold read. I'm never going to get the part anyways, but you fucking defeated that. I'm sure that voice came up at some point and you defeated it and you went through and you did it. And now here's the results.
In the next room when I'm trying to memorize the line, you're an actor, motherfucker. You say you want to be a fucking actor. Let's do this, man. Come on. That kind
That's
of
the
stuff.
voice I know.
Orlando knows that voice.
I know that guy.
Yeah. Yeah, it happened a couple of times on set too. Like when they sprung shit up on me in the trailer, staring at myself in the mirror, like, "All right, welcome to the big leagues. You want to do this, man? All right, let's go. Suck it up. I'm having a panic attack. Suck it up. Let's do this."
That's hilarious. Well, cool, man. Well, let's talk about coffee because one of the things when we met with you and Tate, and you guys brought the coffee. Not only was the coffee delicious, but one of the things I was really impressed about was how deep you went with your knowledge about that, because that's something that I do myself personally with everything that we provide here at On It. And I was super impressed with how deep you went down the coffee rabbit hole to make sure that you were getting the best.
Thanks, Aubrey. I like to think I pretend pretty well at everything I do. Like once you get to a certain level of knowing something, you realize how much you don't know.
That's true.
But I make coffee every morning. It all stemmed from when Tate Fletcher told me about this lifestyle, about paleo and about mixing grass-fed butters and MCT in your coffee and whatever. It was actually at audition for I think it was Breaking Bad or something like that. We were both at the same one, and he sat me down, talked with me for about an hour. On my way home, actually, it took me about a month to actually try it because it seemed kind of weird to me. I tried it some horrible coffee I was making at the time, and I was on my way to a yoga studio, and I was really depressed at the time, really hard time in my life. I was sick for the last couple of years and fighting, and I was like a walking zombie. I had no energy and no life, and what am I going to do? No life in my body is what I mean by life. So one morning I finally made it, and I'm on my way to go teach a fitness class at my yoga studio, and just this incredible, after like 15 minutes of drinking, this incredible euphoria and like clarity of mind, and the depression was gone, and it was just a great feeling, and it was awesome. And I called Tate up and, what's going on? I don't understand. This is amazing. Like, it's really having an effect on me. And I'm thinking about what's in it. There's just butter. There's just MCT. And actually, I know I did use MCT oil the first time. And I was, what, there's nothing in it, but I'm so I got such euphoria at the time. I was so worried about crashing. I never crashed for 5 hours on that. Well, a bunch of, I don't know how many it was, but that's what I tell people, is like, it'll be sustained for 5 hours. So from that moment on, I got obsessed with feeling better, and through nutrition, making myself feel better. And like, once you feel a little bit better, how do I feel a lot better? And like this, what I was feeling isn't like normal. Like, I can feel like that was really sick. That was bad. Like, I can feel so much better just on average. And I got obsessed with, everybody I know needs to know about this. Like, I'm telling everybody about how to try this, and then and I read Rob Wolf's Paleo Solution, and I started doing that, and I'm working out maybe a quarter as much as I was, and I was eating maybe twice as many calories, but good calories, and I was maintaining body image, and a better body image than I ever had before. Mm-hmm. And like, wow, this is amazing. Everybody's got to know about this. And I was just kind of spreading it, telling everybody I care about this. I'm trying to find different coffees and better coffees. Because all my diet, I'm getting the organic grass-fed meats, getting the wild-caught fish. I used to think farmed fish was good fish because they're advertising farmed fish. Like, how stupid was I? Getting my wild-caught fish. Now I want coffee. I want better coffee. I want single estate coffee that actually tastes good. And I'm going through a bunch of different coffees. And I'm ordering coffees. I'm trying coffee. There was this chocolate and coffee fest here in town. And like, man, I love chocolate. I eat chocolate almost every day now. I love coffee. I'm going to go to this thing. And that's where I'm trying all the different coffees in this thing. And I met my roasters, from the Via Marion Farm. It's our master roaster, Dave Sertain. I met him there. And we just, I kind of geeked out a little bit. And he told me, yeah, come watch a roasting and all that. And I enjoyed the coffee that he had, and and I kept it in my mind. And like, I'm slow with everything. It's that little social thing for me that's always holding me back. It took me about a month and a half to go by. But finally, I walked into his front door. I just said, "Hey, man, you talk about a roasting one time. I'd love to see a roasting." And we went and roasted some stuff. And then I watched how the roasting and how it happens. He described he pulled out every level of roasting during the roasting, so I can actually taste the beans and look at the beans and smell everything and all that. And from then on, I kept showing up and watching him roast and test different coffee and I learned different properties and that's of the coffee, and I started mixing coffee with the mixtures I was doing already, and that's how we came up with our white gold, which is our first coffee, and which was a nuttier, buttier kind of coffee. It didn't have the real bitterness that really comes out in these mixtures, and so it also retains a lot more of its phytochemicals because it's not roasted out of the bean.
Mm-hmm.
So that was our first coffee bean, and it just kind of like, well, why don't we just like start selling this? And it became a business from then on, and it was just from just sharing the word, getting people. It wasn't the intention was never like to have this big business like that is coming beyond now and making a ton of money. It was just it was all in good spirit. And then I'm kind of rambling right now. One of the biggest things that happened with that was when I did come and meet you and we made coffee and you guys decided that you guys wanted to co-brand a coffee with us. I mean, that was one of the biggest experiences for me, like a big company like on it. So, and you, somebody that, and Joe Rogan, some people that I really look up to and you guys want to work with us. Like you could have easily gone and where you guys at in Austin and found your own coffee somewhere and done that, but instead you guys decided to work with us. So I went back and went to work on really improving, finding a different taste. That's a coffee with the same bean, just from different roasts, different temperatures, different spikes, and the curve and all that. You can bring out different flavor profiles.
Mm-hmm.
And I was really going with the amber for Onnit coffee. I was really going with the real citric kind of coffee. I was really trying to focus on the citric part of it. It's like an orangey kind of grapefruity taste that you get on the after of the coffee, and so when I did that, after like maybe, I don't know, maybe 2 weeks of roasting different small batches of coffee. One day, it's not good, not good, not good. I don't like it. I went home and a batch that I turned down like 3 different of the night before. Like I tried one, I made it in that morning. Like I used to have like all kinds of sample bags at my house from trying different mixers and putting things together.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I tried one. And I tried it the next morning, and it was amazing. It really blew me away. Like, this is an awesome cup of coffee. It's incredibly light, but it's still full bodied, full bodied than a white. It's incredibly full bodied that you can enjoy it and as a third generation type coffee where you enjoy the subtle notes of it and all that. But when I mix it, and it was incredibly, the aftertaste of it when it cools down, you really taste the citric really hard. It's almost like there's like orange in it, and there's an orange field actually nearby the coffee plantation. Anyways, and then when I mixed it with the butter and the MCT, it even magnified that. It was even stronger. It was really like very citric, wonderful tasting coffee. And like, this is amazing. So I called him on the phone right away. Like, what's going on? Like, this is that wasn't good yesterday. It's amazing today. Well, with a roasting, like it takes about 24 hours for the bean to actually, or a little bit longer to actually mature. And to settle into what it actually is. So now to make this story even longer, okay, this is amazing. This is the Onnit coffee. This is amazing. So I went back, and the guy that works in the warehouse, Moses, lost the curve that was written down on a piece of paper. Yeah. So we spent roasting every day for about 2 weeks, maybe longer. Not every day, like every other day, trying to find that coffee, and like, nope, not it, until we finally found it, and then that became a coffee that I'm really proud of. And I don't know if people that are watching this are already doing the lifestyle with adding the good fats. I mean, there's a lot of good fats. It doesn't have to be bad butter, but adding the stuff to the coffee to get that euphoric kind of heightened effect. One thing special with that amber roast is I discovered on accident one day I was in a hotel room, and I didn't have butter. I just mixed it with MCT and no butter. And it actually had the exact same effect, and it tasted amazing. You can't do this with any other coffees. Like just any coffee because it really magnifies whatever taste is in the coffee. So something special about this lighter roast is only with the MCT, I blended it together and it had the same effect and it was a beautiful taste. It tasted like a creamy version of the coffee. I like it almost even better than with the butter or the coconut creams or anything like that. Um, and still, like I'm truly prolonging my fast. I have no calories coming in my body that has a real impact. Like I don't want to get into the MCT, but there's no butter, there's no other creams. Like it's all just non-impact. So I'm really prolonging my fast with that.
Yep.
And at the same time, I curb my hunger. I'm releasing that leptin, the hormone called leptin, and I'm not hungry for that whole period, and I'm super alert. My brain's functioning, and I feel awesome. So that's one thing really special about this coffee. I don't know how I got onto that rant.
That's great, man. It makes I think everybody listening is reaching for a cup of coffee and looking to blend it right now. But you did an amazing job, man. I mean, the blend that we're really proud to be, offering in conjunction with you guys, our Amber Roast, really amazing, and it shows the craft and the work that you put into that, and we certainly appreciate that, my brother. That's fucking awesome.
Thanks, man. Hey, we got something else too. I was talking to I'm going to actually go ahead and spill the beans right now on something we got coming up that I think is going to be huge.
Is that like a coffee kind of guy pun?
That's coffee.
Absolutely. Spilling the bean. We got this new thing coming out. It's going to be incredibly groundbreaking. I think it's going to be the biggest thing we ever done. I got a prototype right here. Let's see. Can you see it? Here's my prototype. See, there's no label on it or anything. What this is we have cold brews out right now. Our cold brew, we have one of the few single state cold brew. We have a cold brew concentrate out right now. It's really concentrated. In fact, if you heat it up, it tastes like an espresso, but you really want to dilute it. Anyways, we have a beautiful cold brew. I don't want to get into the geekiness of that, but cold brew really accentuates the taste of the coffee. You need good coffee to make a quality cold brew. You can't have any bad coffee in there because it really magnifies whatever qualities you're going for in the coffee. We have right now coming out January. Man, we'll be looking for the end of the month, but probably next month. I don't know. I don't want to get a timetable on. It's nitrogen coffee. It's nitrogen infused cold brew. It's a whole system we're going through. It changes the taste. It makes it a little bit more creamy. Makes it a little bit fizzy. Wow. But the nitrogen, when we infuse it, it actually helps transport the caffeine as well, and you get a way different effect from this coffee than normal cold brew and other coffees. And our master roaster David Sertain's been killing himself for the last I don't know how long trying to come up with this, and we've been bottling and finding out the exact right mixture and everything, and we're just about there, and it's gonna go out in the market real soon. So something I'm just really excited about, and I wanted to break it here with you.
Beautiful, man. Can't wait to try it. It comes in a can.
Yeah, we're gonna have cans, actually small cans like this can. Like if I drank this whole can, like it would just kind of would get a little jittery.
It'd get a little weird.
Yeah.
I love it, man. Well, come out to Austin again soon. I know your boy Tate, our boy Tate, just opened up that concrete, so let's go have some fun, man. Let's hang out. Let's get a workout.
And we put them on taps too.
Hell yeah, sounds good. Keith Jardine, my friend, it's good to have you on here. It's a great podcast, and let's catch up soon, my brother.
I'd love to, man.
All right, adios.
Adios.